If you thought the car industry had enough drama with electric vehicle delays, software bugs, and governments backtracking on emission targets, think again. Fresh reports suggest that Nissan is in talks with Ford and Stellantis about potentially supplying hybrid systems and maybe even electric vehicle technology. Yes, you read that correctly. Nissan, the brand that gave us the Leaf before EVs were cool, could soon be kitting out cars from Ford and Stellantis, the group behind Peugeot, Citroën, Jeep, Fiat, Alfa Romeo, and a dozen others. It is the automotive equivalent of Apple offering its processors to Samsung, or Coca-Cola sharing its syrup with Pepsi. Bold, surprising, and ever so slightly confusing. So, why is this happening now? And what does it actually mean for you, the person who just wants a car that doesn't break down or cost the earth in fuel bills? Let's break it down. Nissan's hybrid and EV credentials. Before we jump into why Ford and Stellantis might need help, let's talk about Nissan's position. Nissan has quietly built a strong hybrid system, particularly with its e-Power technology. Unlike a traditional hybrid, e-Power uses a petrol engine purely as a generator, while the wheels are driven exclusively by an electric motor. It's a clever setup that gives you the smoothness of an EV without the constant stress of finding a charger. In markets like Japan, it has been a massive success. On the EV side, Nissan has pedigree too. The Leaf, love it or mock it, was the world's first mass-market electric car. More recently, the Ariya has entered the crossover EV battle. And while it hasn't blown Tesla or Hyundai out of the water, it proves Nissan knows how to build a decent electric car. Combine that with years of experience ironing out battery management and motor tech, and you start to see why Ford and Stellantis might be peeking over Nissan's shoulder with envy. Why Ford and Stellantis need outside help? Let's be blunt, Ford and Stellantis are under pressure. Ford has poured billions into EVs but struggled with profitability. The Mustang Mach-E is decent, but the F-150 Lightning is too expensive, and the company is already delaying or scaling back future EV launches. On the hybrid side, Ford is fine in the US with its F-150 Hybrid and Escape Hybrid, but it lags behind Toyota and Nissan in the global hybrid game. Stellantis, meanwhile, has an even bigger headache. With its sprawling collection of brands, it has tried to cover every market, from French city cars to American pickup trucks. But its hybrid and EV efforts have been patchy at best. Jeep's plug-in hybrids are okay. Peugeot's EVs are just about competitive in Europe. But when you look at the bigger picture, Stellantis is nowhere near the scale of Toyota, Hyundai, or even Volkswagen when it comes to electrification. For them, plugging into Nissan's technology could save years of development and billions in costs. What supplying hybrid actually means. Now let's not get carried away. This is not the same as Nissan, Ford, and Stellantis joining hands to create a mega alliance. The wording matters. Nissan could supply hybrid tech. That probably means Nissan selling components, systems, or modules like motors, inverters, or control software, rather than full vehicles. Think of it less like a marriage and more like a friends with benefits situation. That distinction is important. If Nissan supplies e-Power systems, Ford and Stellantis would still design their own cars. But under the bonnet, you'd find a chunk of Nissan DNA. It's like ordering a takeaway where the main course is cooked by Nissan, but the presentation and dessert are handled by Ford or Stellantis. Benefits for Nissan: playing the supplier game. For Nissan, this could be a financial lifeline. The company has had its fair share of ups and downs in the past decade, from the Carlos Ghosn scandal to declining sales in key markets. Selling its tech to rivals would not only bring in cash, but also prove that its hybrid systems are good enough to be industry standard. It's a chance to reposition itself, not just as a car maker, but also as a technology provider, a bit like what Toyota has done by licensing its hybrid systems. Benefits for Ford and Stellantis: shortcut to competitiveness. For Ford and Stellantis, the upside is obvious: speed. Developing hybrid and EV systems takes time, and the market is moving fast. By tapping into Nissan's know-how, they could close the gap with Toyota and Hyundai much quicker. Imagine a Jeep running Nissan's e-Power setup, or a Ford Escape quietly humming along on a Nissan-sourced hybrid system. It would mean fewer embarrassing headlines about delays and fewer recalls caused by rushed software. risks and pitfalls, identity crisis on wheels. But let's not pretend this is all sunshine and rainbows. There are risks too. For starters, what does it say about Ford and Stellantis if they cannot build their own tech? It could damage brand perception, especially among buyers who value authenticity. Do you really want your American Ford or rugged Jeep running tech borrowed from a Japanese brand? Then, there's the issue of integration. Car platforms are complicated beasts, and shoehorning Nissan's hybrid system into cars not designed for it could lead to compromises in performance, packaging, or reliability. Software calibration, supply chain headaches, and after-sales support are all potential minefields. And let's not forget the politics. Stellantis in particular is fiercely proud of its European identity, while Ford trades heavily on its American roots. How will they spin using Japanese tech without admitting weakness? The global car industry, strange bedfellows everywhere. Step back for a moment though, and you realize this is part of a bigger trend. The automotive world is full of strange partnerships. Toyota owns a chunk of Subaru. Mazda has borrowed Toyota's hybrid systems. Honda is partnering with General Motors for EV platforms. And Volkswagen is working with Ford on vans. In an era where electrification costs billions, no one wants to go it alone. So while Nissan potentially supplying hybrids to Ford or Stellantis may sound shocking, it's really just another example of carmakers swallowing their pride for the sake of survival. The real surprise is that it has taken this long for Nissan to leverage its hybrid expertise in this way. What this means for you, the buyer. From a consumer point of view, this could actually be good news. If Ford and Stellantis get access to reliable hybrid systems, you will see more choice in the showroom and hopefully fewer recalls. It could make hybrid versions of cars like the Ford Explorer, Jeep Compass, or Peugeot 3008 more compelling. On the flip side, it may blur the lines between brands, making it harder to know what is truly Ford or Jeep under the skin. But most buyers just want something that works, and if Nissan tech delivers, few will complain. Final verdict: a bold gamble, worth watching. So, should you be excited, worried, or just mildly entertained by the idea of Nissan supplying hybrid and EV systems to Ford and Stellantis? The truth is, it's all three. Excited because it could mean better hybrids and quicker electrification across a wide range of brands. Worried because integration and identity issues could create Frankencars that please no one. And entertained because, let's face it, watching old rivals quietly admit they need help is always a bit funny. One thing is certain: the next few years are going to be fascinating. If this deal goes ahead, it could reshape the balance of power in the industry. Nissan, once written off as struggling, could become the unexpected kingmaker in the hybrid era. Ford and Stellantis, meanwhile, could finally plug some gaps in their lineup. Or it could all collapse in a mess of recalls, lawsuits, and awkward press releases. Either way, grab your popcorn. The car industry soap opera has just added a juicy new storyline.